Hello and welcome back to part 3. If this is your first time here, jump onto the playlist named the Tamiya Gorilla 1/6 scale build, and you can watch this from part 1. But we're in part 3 now, so glad if you could all join me again, and let's do a little quick recap of what we're up to. We've built the frame, we've built the cylinder, as they call it, with the attaching footrest, and under here we've got our stand. This is a clutch cable sitting on there. So in here we've got our crankcase with a few chrome bits and the spark plug and spark plug cover. These pieces I resprayed, so they've been sprayed in the Outlaw Paints aluminium. Come up really good. And yeah, that's it. So now we're actually up to step 5. And I've been looking forward to this step 5 because step 5 is the carburetor and the air cleaner. So we need to do a little bit of extra detail work where I want to customize the appearance of these. So we'll put this over to the side like that. And I'll throw up step 5 up in the corner there. And we can see that we've got a few parts to get off the B sprue. So the B sprue is, where are we? Is here. Okay, so it's quite small. There it is there. There's our carburetor with all the bits and pieces on it. I'm going to take that off, including the parts B24, which is the pipe that comes up off the cylinder. And well, actually off the crankcase where this sits above, and then over here you can see we've got the air filter to do, which all those parts are on the A sprue, which is this one. Take it out of the bag. So these are alloy parts, and these are obviously the chrome parts. Now the strange thing about this is the color call out tells us that we need to paint all of these black, which makes sense. I mean, you could leave it chrome if you want, but going by the image on the box art, you can see in there that there's our air filter, and it is in fact all black. So, and on both versions of the bike, you can see there, might not be able to see, it's not too clear, but they're black. So I don't know why they have those parts chromed on the sprue, but anyway, we will paint those black. Yeah, so that'll look more authentic. Okay, so I'm going to take off these parts, put them all aside over here. I'll set them all on there, and then we can get them all ready for painting. We'll clean them all up, and this time we'll actually show you painting. Okay, I'll get the camera, I'll bring the airbrush probably out here. I'll bring it out here, and we'll bring this and get this painted up and show you filming that. All right, I'll be back in a second. Okay, so what I've done is I've glued the parts of the carburetor together, which include the B47, B48 that go underneath. So that's all glued. They're all connected up, so that's ready to paint now. And what I'll do is I can hold it via this clip on that top upper pipe, because that needs to be painted a matte black, and we can do that after. I'll just brush paint that, but this will be okay to hold. So what I'm going to do is, I don't want to leave it this color. I'm going to paint this, the Outlaw Paints Autumn Shimmer. You can see that color. It's a beautiful goldy copper sort of color, and well, we'll see what it looks like, but that's what I'm going to do. But I'll prime it first with some just some light grey primer with the Outlaw Paints primer, and then hit it, and then give that a go over it. That's going to look really nice. Now there is a piece, this lever that goes on the side of it, right, which I'm going to leave aluminium. So that will stay aluminium, but I will respray it, the aluminium, like I have with the other parts of the engine. Also, this one here, this is the pipe. It sort of comes off the end here and goes down into the cylinder. I will respray that, the aluminium as well. So that'll come off and go down. And then there's going to be off the part I'm holding here, show you. On there is this tiny little ring piece here. Just be able to see that. All right, that goes onto there, and then the accelerator cable, black cable, will come off that. So what I'll do is I will paint this. I'm thinking about painting that the autumn shimmer as well. And that'll be between that and that, so that just adds a bit more of that coppery look to it. I think it'll look good. There's also a very tiny little chrome piece, A9. It sits down in the bottom. It's like a little plug, and that, believe it or not, is that tiny little chrome piece sitting in there. I put it in that cap there just so I'm double aware that it's there and I don't lose it. So that'll stay there. All right, so that's what I'm going to do. As for the air filter, I'm going to do that all separately. I just want to get these parts and this built up first. Everything else, all that air filter is going to be black. So there'll just be black on that. There is a bit of silver in there that sort of imitates a ring going between the parts that join this and the filter to it. But other than that, most of it will be black. All right, so I'm going to do this airbrushing here in front of you. I'm going to go set up here, bring the airbrush and bring it in here, and yeah, we'll watch this turn into a beautiful autumn shimmer. Eh? All right, we'll be back in a sec. Okay, welcome back. I've changed over the mat to an older one. Not worried about getting paint on here. We've got our Outlaw Paints grey primer, which I'll be putting on first, and then the autumn shimmer. Okay, we've got our mask, which hopefully you can still hear me. Yep, just a little bit muffled. Airbrush I'm using is just a Mr. Hobby airbrush, 0.2 mil needle. Okay, now every time I use this, and I just do a quick clean out of the cup and in here, and then I pull the needle out and wipe it clean. I always keep them out separate until I use it again, which I'm going to. So we just pop that back in. This, okay, tighten that up. Pop this back on, and it's good to go. All right. So what I'll do is I'll turn on the compressor. Hopefully that won't be too noisy. I'll be putting a bit of paint in there, like I said, the grey primer. We'll just move this over so you can probably see a bit better like that. There we go. Now the toothpick is a very handy tool. All right, a few tips or ways I do things anyway is, rather than tipping straight from the bottle into your cup, give this a shake while I'm talking, I use a toothpick. And you might wonder, well, what the hell do you do with a toothpick? Well, I will show you what I do with a toothpick. Let me just turn on this. That's not too loud. That should be okay. All right, so this is what I do with a toothpick. Just take the cap off here. Go. So you use this to run your paint down into the cup. And as you'll see, we've got, it just follows straight down and it's in. Okay, done. Put that somewhere. Bin for a minute. Right, that's it. Sometimes when you tip the bottle in, you can spill it, or it runs down the side, gets down there and makes a mess. Using a toothpick just to run the paint down into the cup like that, easy. Okay, so we'll just give it a couple of, just the air coming out, that's all. We'll do a test spray on the napkin here. What I'll do is I will put my mask on, okay? And that. So first thing I want to do is I'm going to do the carburetor. All right, so we just want to give this a bit of a spray. We'll do that now. Do a test spray. Yeah. Starting to come out now. Now we're just going to lightly go across this, very lightly. Yeah. Completely covered like it is. You know, there's a lot of different angles to try to get in. I just noticed this is spluttering a little bit. I don't know why. Yeah. Need to check that. Make sure everything's tight. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so that's come up all right. That's all it needs. It's only a primer. You don't have to go crazy. It's only a base coat. As long as you've got a coverage, it'll be fine. Okay, so that's going to be the autumn shimmer. This one I'm going to redo this in the aluminium again. This is really splattering bad. I need to go and check why that's happening. Maybe I haven't got the needle seated in there properly. I'll be back in a sec. Okay, that's what it was. So if you find that it's splattering when it's coming out, that's what it was. I loosened this off, pulled this out a little bit, pushed it in again till I knew it was in hard and did it up, and that stopped it. Okay, we'll put that back on. Now, much better. Okay, there you go. So, like I was saying, this one also we're going to just give this a very light coat. There it is. Prime that up. That's it. That's all it needs. And of course the this pipe here, which will also be, I think I said I was going to do that aluminium as well. Yeah, so we'll just give this a coat too. All right, there we go. Oh, nice. There we go. Sorry, I held that off the camera. There's that. And then this little ring that I'm gonna do that in the shimmer as well. I'll just give that a quick coat. That's all that needs. That's yeah, that's fine. All right, good. Okay, now my PSI, for those who want to know, is only about 15, 16 PSI. That's good. All right, done. We'll come back in a sec when they're dry. And seriously, I would only leave them for like 10 minutes. That's all it'll take. And that'll be fine. And then we can have a look at this stuff. All right, I'll be back in a sec. Oh, and I thought I'd just come back and just show you what I do. Again, to clean out the cup. All right, we go, take off. We grab our toothpick that we used before, which I put in the bin, but here it is. And to get this paint back into here, again, just down the toothpick. There you go. Straight in there, easy. Done, okay. The excess, spray that out. There we go, it just cleared itself in there. Put the lids back on. Other side. Now, to clean that out, what I do is I have, let's get this over here, is a jar, which is my biohazard waste jar. the old paint. Yuck. That's where we put that. All right. And then I use one of these. You can buy these in a cheap store. These are the like eyedropper stuff like this. See? Great. Inside it is acrylic thinner. I buy this from the motor part store or hardware store in, well, a 5 litre tin was what I bought last time. Sorry, I'm talking in my mask. That's better. 5 litre tin, and it's going to last me years. So I just get a little bit in there like that. All right. Try not to spill it everywhere. I get a little bit in there. Then we get this, and we just run that around like that. Okay, just a little bit more. Okay, just give it a quick swirl around like this. Now I usually use some like cheesecloth, but I don't have any here at the moment, so we'll use a paper towel. They're just as good. So once that's just soaking up the paint in there, tip it into our biohazard jar. Get in there with the paper towel. Give it a twist around on the outside as well. If any overspilled, take it out. Look at that. It's like brand new. Now there'll always be a bit that's gone in there. Just put it in your thing. Spray it through. Okay, done. That is ready now for the next color. That's all you need to do. Now, you could, as I will also do, is grab a cotton bud, as we call them here. Okay, put a drop on the end of that, on the end of your cotton bud, and just go like this. Give it a twist around, and that will clean out the end of that if you really want to. And there we go. He's ready to go. Your next color. Now, what I do at the end of the day, or when I'm going to stop painting for a few hours, is I will actually take the whole needle out, give it a few drops on this and let that run down the needle, give it a wipe in the paper towel, takes off the paint, and sit that outside, sit that aside, and then like you saw, I put it together when I'm about to use it. All right. So my biohazard cap back on. We don't want that spilling everywhere. That's back blocked on. And yeah, now I'll be back in even less time and we'll give these some colour. We're back in a sec. Okay, welcome back. So here we go. There's how they come up. So it's all dried, looking good. It's our pieces. Just move that over there for a moment. And here we go with the Outlaw Paints Autumn Shimmer. That looks interesting. Yeah, it looks nice. Let's get some of this in our paint airbrush. All right. Using our little stick to a little bit in there like that. Oh, it looks nice. All right. And we'll give it a bit of a test spray. There we go, just so it starts coming out. All right. Let's see how this looks. Looks good to me. I don't know how well you can see that, but that looks really nice. We'll see how that dries and know whether or not to put a clear coat on that. So I do want this to shine really nicely. But yeah, that looks great. All right, I'll put that over the side. Now we'll just change this over because we want to do the aluminium. Oh, okay. We want to do aluminium on these. So the other parts. Just, oh, hang on. No, the shimmer was going to go on that other piece too, wasn't it? That back, almost forgot. Remember this bit where the hose is? We want to do this in the shimmer as well. Just give that a quick. Like that. Do this side as well. Yeah. All right. Cool. Now we can change this over. This. Put this back in. That's the great thing about these paints. You saw how easy that goes on, and you don't have to worry about mixing any thinners. It's straight out of the bottle. Tip what's left back in, and you're good to go next time. You know, there we go. All right, so it just makes the process so much easier, and you just got less to think about. You know, and this is a cheap airbrush. This isn't an Iowata or a Steinbeck or anything like that. This is just a, Australian dollars. Like I think it cost me under $200. That's for sure. So yeah, shake around in there. Clean this out. There we go, look at that. Done. All right. We're good to go for the next color now. It's back. Right. And now I shook it up a little bit earlier, but they don't need, you don't need to be there for like 5 minutes shaking away. This has a liquid pigment in it. It's not like there's particles in there. Liquid pigment goes in, mixes in really easily. This stuff's amazing. This stuff's like I explained it to Jason from Outlaw Paints. It's like liquid mercury, especially the chrome. This is very similar. We'll get a fresh stick, just tip a bit. Excuse me. A little bit in there, like that. The lid back on. And do a bit of a test spray again. There we go. Just start it. I'm not worried about, after a while, when you airbrush, you can hear from the sound of the air coming out if you've got any problem, if there's blockages or anything like that. And as for this paint splatter, you saw how easy I fixed that, so no problem. All right, so this piece, yes, I want to do this bit aluminium, didn't I? Okay. Yes. So it lightly comes out like it is now. Do a nice layer over. That's it. That looks good. There we are. Fantastic. And then there's that little lever on the side. We do this now. Done. All right. This, pop it back into the bottle the next time. No mess using the toothpick. Goes straight in there. Pop out the excess. There it goes. That away. It's ready to go for next time. All good. I'll just clean this out now. I'll put these, let them dry. That's the base coat, so I'll give them a good 20 minutes. That's plenty of time. It's a nice 23 or 4 degrees here today, so that'll be fine. We'll come back and have a look at that, this, see how shiny that looks, and if it needs a bit of a gloss, I've got some beautiful gloss coat from Outlaw Paints as well, and we'll give that a little squirt with that. Okay, be back in a second. Okay, back, and it's dry. All the parts are dry, and it's come up really nice. I don't think there's any need to put a gloss on that. That looks shiny enough as it is, so I'm going to leave it. But what I will be doing is just touching up in there with a bit of silver, whether I use one of my silver pens, that chrome pen, that might do it, just for the little bolt heads that are in there, just for a little extra detail. I'll probably do that. Other than that, this is fine, and these parts as well, the aluminium, they're looking good, so fantastic. I'll tidy up my airbrush, put everything back away, and we'll come back and we'll put all these parts together, I guess, and then we can start on the air cleaner, which is the second part of step 5. All right, be back in a sec. Okay, so I've decided to go in with the chrome pen. Just going to give this a shake. Just do a couple of the little bolt heads that are on here. There we go, it's coming out now. Okay, so just one little spot. I think it was that one there. Just do that one. It's there. Under there. Yeah, it's done. And what else do we have? Say the top of that as well. Yeah. Good. And that's about it on that. Yeah. So tiny. It's right under the seat anyway. Probably hardly going to see it, but hey, doesn't matter. I think there's another little bulkhead in there too. Touch that. There we go. Yeah, looks better. All right, that's done. Now we need to get a bit of hose length from the top of that, which actually we've got to do that rubber black, don't we? So the part that the clamp's on, take that off now. So this here is actually a hose line going to the top. And that has to be rubber black. I haven't got with me here at the moment. I'll grab that and we'll do that back in a sec. Okay, here we go. And, the hose that goes on this, we've got to cut 125 millimeters of it. Is that right? 110 millimeters. That's right. That's the actual accelerator cable we do it. So, which will go on the end of this. Oh, careful. That's it. I got it all. little bit in there. Yeah. It's looking like rubber already, the way it's drying. Yeah. All right, we're fine. Good. All right, I'll put this aside and let's have a look at cutting a piece of tubing that we're going to need. As you can see in the book here, is the length we want. There's another piece as well that goes onto a little tab underneath. That's the fuel tube, fuel line going onto that, which is only 25 millimeters long. It's much shorter. So, where are we? Oh, there it is. Do the long one first. That's there, there, all the way to there. One. And we'll do the other one as well. There. Good. All right. Progressing along well. Okay, so first thing I want to do is attach this tiny little chrome piece before we lose it. I want to get that on. So trying to see where that goes. Okay, so we hold it in this position like this. That goes into that spot there. We'll just test fit, make sure it's going to go in there. Yeah, drop my tweezers. Okay. This. Not a problem at all. Yeah. Good. All right, so I'll attach that. Then I will attach this pipe. And then I will put this on. Little lever piece. And then and this part which goes on where the hose is going to be for the accelerator cable. All right. I'll do all that off camera and we'll come back and have a look when it's all done. All right, back in a second. Okay, it's all done. There it is. It was a little bit fiddly, but the hose went on, the fuel lines went on, and coming up all right. It's a shame it's a bit too small to see there, I know, but yeah, it's all right. It's all good. So what I'll do now is I'll put this aside and we'll do the air cleaner. I'll take all the parts off and then we'll put it together, and it looks like we'll be able to paint that after it's all been put together because it's all going to be the same color, black. All right, I shall return. Okay, so there's all our parts. I've trimmed them up a bit. These I've left on the sprue. I want to do these ones here first. So pretty much we need to just join these two together. Should be pretty simple. Some pins for them to lock into. Looks like they're only going to go one way. Yep. So that's in there. There it is. All right, so that's going to go like that. Doesn't really look right, but I'm sure it is. Yep, that's it. And then this piece goes through there like that. That's it. So I've just got to glue this. And this is going to be black. This is going to be a gloss black. So we'll paint that. This part I've left separate because this has to be, this again is like imitating a rubber boot where it joins the air filter to the carburetor. So this is going to be a rubber black that I used before. And somehow in there, we've also got to get a silver stripe inside one of those bands there. So it looks like there's a clamp on there. We will work that out. All right. So, yeah, I will just have to now I'll cement these and it should be right. Yeah. All right. We'll be back in a sec. Okay, so these are ready to paint. I've just glued the end of the cocktail stick or toothpick into the end of there, so there's somewhere to hold it. I'm going to undercoat these in black primer. There's our Outlaw Paints black primer. And then I'll paint this one in the gloss black, which is somewhere here. I think it's in the other room. Yep, gloss black. And this one here will be in rubber black. Okay, but I'll do this on camera so we can watch. Obviously, there'll be a bit of drying time in between. I'll pause it. Yeah, all right, here we go. Okay, back again. Let's have a look at these. There's this bit. Glued that on, didn't I? There we go. So there we go. It's the air filter. It's come up quite nice. And here's the rubber, sort of the seal between it and the carburetor, which was done in the rubber black. See the difference there. Looks good. Now there is an area on here where they want us to paint white, which, let me see, is between, it's on that last run. If we can run a silver through that, it's going to look like there's like a strap on there. That's the idea. So I don't know if my pen might be too thick. We'll see if that's going to be an option. Hopefully it will be able to work, and I think it will. Yes, because that, it's like one of those, what do you call those metal clamps? That's what it is, and that bit's got to be done silver too. So I'll be able to draw this line of silver all the way around there and then color that, and that should look good. And then this will attach, well, basically onto there. And how goes like that. Yeah, well, that's going to go in there like that, and the carburetor will go on there. All right, which is a big step in the next one, because step 6 is to put all this stuff together. So I'm looking forward to that. All right, so let me just get organized here and carefully draw this on. I'll do it off camera, and otherwise I'm going to have my head in the way because I'm going to get up close and look at it. And we'll come back and then we'll have a look at all the parts we've got to get put together. Okay, we'll be back in a sec. Okay, we're back, and I forgot to, in step 4, needed to connect this part to this part, which I'm about to do now. I did have to just clean up the seam line on there so it's sat flush. Yeah, get my words out, and I just tidied that up there. Okay, so now I'm just going to connect that onto there, like pretty much just like that. Where it goes. All right, and yeah, and then after that we'll put on. I think the whole thing goes on the frame. I'll put step 6 up there in the corner. You can have a look at and see what we're doing. So we're putting the carburetor's got to go on top of this, and the filter that we just did. Here's our carburetor over here. And then all of this will connect up under the frame of the bike with the screws that I took off. These are all B34 screws or bolts, and they go through to hold everything in place. All right, but let me get this fixed up first, and I'll be back in a second. Okay, so I've got this part on. Just push that in. It's tight. I don't need to put glue on that, but it's in place. Now we need to put the carburetor on. So it's keyed in to go in one way, which is like this. Just push it in. I think that's it. Yep. I will put a touch of glue in there. And after I just test fit this onto here. And that's going to be fine, I think. Yeah. Nothing's going to get in the way. Touch where it shouldn't. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Let me take that back off. Bit of glue in there. That's it. I'll do it. All right. Looking good. That hole in the top of that just needs a bit of, just needs to be widened a little bit. Move these across. Yeah, I'll just run the blade on the inside of that. A little bit like this. That might do it. Yeah. Make sure that's going to be in straight like that. Fantastic. Just need a bit of glue on the bottom of that. Yeah. As usual, I put a little bit too much. Okay. All right, pop that in, make sure she's straight. Yeah. It's looking fine there. Yeah. I'm gonna have to not move it. There we go. I'll just leave that. I won't touch it till that dries. Yep. It looks good. All right. And then we'll bring the frame over and start connecting that on, hey? Yeah. All good. All right. Back in a sec. Okay. Now, time to get this on. This goes on the frame as our bike frame. So we've got the brackets in here where the bolts will go through. In there and in there. They line up with this here, this down here. And then this top bracket, actually on the top of the air filter, will go into there. And there's a screw in there, which I don't remember if I actually need to put that in or not. No, there's no screw. It just, the tab just sits into that. All right. So let's have a go at this. Bring it in like this. And that up there. We really do want to get that to fit in there, if anything. Just see it now that I may have to just trim that because of the oh no. Yeah, I may have to trim that. It's just the excess paint on there, that's all. It's making it a bit bit much. All right, I will fix that up. I'll be back in a second. Okay. So I trimmed that up, I've pushed it in and it's sitting there fine now. Just going to line up these positions. Ah, there we go. It's looking good. Let's check the other side. Yeah. All right, fingers crossed that the pins will fit in. Just fit first. Yeah, that one there first. All right, so that one fits. Then we need in there. Ooh. There we go. There. Not a problem. Should test it fitted it through those holes before I tried to put it in. Not a problem. All right, I'll be back. I'll get this fixed up. Okay, got it. The bolts were a little bit tricky to line up, but once they did, not a problem. So we've got the 4 bolts in, and that's it. Pretty much the engine is there. It's under where it's supposed to be. Good. So, yeah, pretty happy with that. Very happy with that. It's looking good. All right, that's step 6 done. I can cross that off. And that's it for this video. We're running out of time. We've got quite a bit done, so that's good. We're up to step 7 in the next video, which will be the rear swing arm and the muffler. So that should be interesting. The rear muffler will be interesting. We'll work out how we're going to do with the color on that, whether we're going to try and re-chrome it or whatever. Figure that out. But yeah, all good. So thank you all for watching again. And if you haven't already, please, like I always say, hit that thumbs up. Any comments are welcome down below. You can put anything you want, tips or suggestions. If you built this kit before, if you had any problems, am I going to have any problems? It should be fine. I'm feeling confident. It's coming together nicely. It's something different. All right, guys. I'll see you in the next part 4. It'll be. All right. Have a good one. Bye.